you know? It's really interesting. I don't even know what I'm doing here, but I feel like it's time to just start speaking. Or else, what good was all the learning, you know? I've come to understand life as 50% luck, 50% effort in all things. But I do also believe that there's more luck at the start than there is at any other point. The children are the ones that need the luck. Not all the children get the luck. And the unlucky children, they are truly unlucky. And they don't really stop being unlucky because an unlucky child tends to be an unlucky adult. However, I just want to start at something that I like to call the birth lottery. The lottery of birth. It's not a new concept, something I'm sure I'm sure there's been discussions that you've been aware of at one point or another, but I really want to drive home how much how you were born and who you were born to, where and when, is not only all luck, because you can't choose where you're born, and any of the other factors that I mentioned, but by even coming to this world, by even being a living, breathing human being, you got lucky to be here. It's like you got lucky. Sometimes we get lucky to get unlucky, you know? You are that sperm that fought and really did everything it could to get a chance at life. Um, and then life kicks you in the fucking face, which happens sometimes. But I'm getting distracted. The birth lottery. Um, there are some things that I think are not only inherently lucky and our access to are luck based, but these things are so essential and key to every component of life that to have to get lucky to properly have access to these things is a failing of society, is a failing of our nation, is a failing of the world. Because we've had enough technology, enough access, enough money for decades at this point. And it just seems like nobody ever goes far enough to actually mitigate the effects of the birth lottery. Um, right? All right. So these are the things that I think, if you've ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I think it's particularly important. There are some things in here that I don't think are going to be pertinent to the birth lottery, aren't pertinent to what I'm talking about. They're still important. They're still interesting to know. But I don't think that any body of knowledge or anything that was coined some time ago, like, I'm not a respecter of bodies of knowledge in that manner, I would say. I would say take what you can from it, learn what you can from it, but don't get caught up in the specifics of it. It's not worth it a lot of the time. Um, so, the things that I think of are really important to peel out of that hierarchy of need are air, water, food, shelter, sleep, and warmth. So, these things sound basic, sound simple. They are in no way, shape, or form simple from the perspective of the government. They will fight you fight you tooth and nail to not give you anything, to not help you in these regards, to ignore these needs, or to not allocate funding or money or attention or anything to it properly. Won't track it properly, won't admit to failings in these regards, won't put in effort to properly price or regulate or control. Like, the free market has screwed us on basic needs, essentially. And I think that these things, this air, water, food, shelter, sleep, and warmth, really tell almost the entire story. And we're gonna I'm gonna go down this list one more time, but we're kind of gonna break it down piece by piece and to show you how like the birth lottery can drastically hinder your access to any of these things, which could literally ruin whatever chance you had of being the actualized or just like happy, competent, capable, excited individual that you are. Like excitement is something that I think our society has stripped out of a lot of people, and with good reason, because there's not a lot to be excited about on a macro scale about the world, about where our nation is headed, about where the future lies, where like what are we going to look like 10 years from now. That question shouldn't inspire existential dread and sadness and frustration. It should be excitement and curiosity and all of those things that like we had as kids, or maybe you wish you had, or just any of these things. We should have a world where you are excited about the future, because if you're not excited about the future, what keeps you motivated in the now? What keeps you building is important. If you're not excited about the future, what incentivizes building? If I didn't care about the future, not only would I not be okay not building, I'd be okay tearing things down or letting things fall apart, because who cares? And does that not sound like everything our society unfortunately has trended our youth towards? I digress. We're gonna go back to air. Air is something that you think would be simple. Oh, it's air. No. So much pollution. So many shitty city zoning laws that put people from birth in places where it is not okay to breathe the air. Where by breathing the air, you're harming your lungs. You're putting them in overdrive. You are causing you're not causing it. You are being made subject to irritation in the lungs, in the brain, in the throat, in like skin rashes. Skin rashes can occur through poor air quality. There's a lot of things that the heavy, harmful chemicals, the smog, the disgusting stuff that rains down on everybody through the result of these manufacturing districts, through burning things that they shouldn't burn, through improperly disposing of things that they shouldn't dispose of in that manner, utilizing chemicals they shouldn't be utilizing in the first place, and they don't care because they know that they've cornered off through the air this region. They're not living there. They just have their factories there. Do you think the people who own the factories live anywhere near those factories? I can promise you they don't. And if they do, that's just like a ploy. They don't actually. Rich people don't bear the brunt of the worst of the things that they've done. And air, which is supposed to be at the very baseline of these needs, everybody should just have access to decent air because you have no choice. You have to breathe air. This is your existence. But no, you get to breathe in chemicals. You get to breathe in. Think about like our civilization built around a car. All of these cars, idling, going here, there, everywhere. All of the parking, all of the infrastructure that was built, and the things that it did in the process of building it, and the way they've kind of ruined or impacted what could have been beautiful spaces, because we have to accommodate for the car. We have to destroy the air in this region with the car, because how else are people going to get around? There's no choice. No choice. Because this is the way that the people in charge have built their society. And they're not up for the challenge of reimagining society. No. That is way too much work at their old age. That costs way too much money because all they want to do is line their pockets. Let's take a hop, skip, and a jump, just right there, connected to water. It's the same struggle. Water is something that I myself struggle with daily, because if you live anywhere near a golf course, your water is treated. Your water has chemicals all in it. Your water is probably not safe to drink, especially not safe to drink over a long period of time. What if I had a kid? What if I, like, you have to take care of water and it is a non-option to take care of it. You can't just drink these things. You can't subject yourself to these things because I'm telling you, the people who put the water in my sink, they don't care. They are doing the bare minimum to meet their legal requirements because it is too expensive to do otherwise. And when I say these things are too expensive, I don't mean it's actually too expensive. I mean that's the excuse that you will get every single time. Money talks, money talks, money talks. And money is never talking to the right people. It isn't. Food. So we're at air. Can't get clean air. Can't get clean water. Food. Same shit. If you can eat, first off, you have to make sure you can even get something to eat. That is a non-negotiable. You need calories to function. Your brain, this thing up here, burns so much calories to even function, to become. The brain is like the majority of who you are. So just to exist, you need to consume so much. Human beings are parasites, like inherently. We need to survive. And we need food. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen the argument around free lunch in schools be an argument when it shouldn't even be an argument. Everybody who sees this argument understands that why are we not just feeding kids? Rich, poor, doesn't matter. The kids need to eat. The kids don't have a choice in eating. If we can give them decent nutrition, make sure they have access to decent nutrition while they're working out their brain here at school, why would we not do that? It is a non-negotiable. It is a non-partisan issue. It is just the cabal. And when I say the cabal, I mean there are truly evil people in this world who do not care about your children, who do not care about you, do not care about your family, don't care about the future. They don't care about anybody besides themselves and the now and how they can continue to build for themselves to the future. Nothing else matters. And you would think they'd have some investment in the future. Because, I mean, I'm sure a lot of them have kids because they're well off. Why not have kids if you're well off? Or why not have, like, an empire that you're so proud of that requires a good world to thrive? Still a little short-sighted. Money still talks a little loud in their ear and they don't care. So, can you get enough food to eat? Because you need to. It needs to be pretty good food too. Because when I say good, I just mean somewhat natural. You need fibers. You need balance. You need to have something that isn't sugar and refined and preservatives and full of chemicals that at the end of the day are just things that were put in there to help the company sell stuff for longer, to preserve it for longer, to make the food taste better. They don't care a lot of times about nutrition. Like, because nutrition doesn't typically move people like it can, and I think some people are. But like, if we're talking food, especially food for kids, man, all you gotta do is get the parent to pull the trigger on the product. They don't really care about anything else. I was a product of a generation of kids who just ate dyes and sugars and salts and fats and stuff that were just literally in everything. Everything. I was a huge Lunchable kid. Lead. There was lead in my Lunchables my entire life. That was like my favorite snack. Why? Why is there lead in my Lunchables? Like, it's heartbreaking. And it's just one small example of a much bigger problem that is not going to be solved by anybody because the drivers of them are usually greed. And greed in this society is rewarded. So you reward greed for long enough, how are you going to fight behaviors that come out of greed? Through force, through like anger, through like a demand for change that goes above the profit motive. You have to speak truth to power, but you also need that power to hear the truth. You need them to be afraid, I suppose, of the truth. I'm not sure. But let's continue. Shelter. This is the big one. This is the single most expensive component of everybody's life. How do I live? Like, where do I rest my head at night? Where do I be to be safe? Because society isn't necessarily designed for just you to be safe everywhere. It isn't. Privatization has kind of seen through to that. A gutting of social programs has seen through to that. And that gutting isn't just like this administration or before, it's just these things are perpetually underfunded. Think about teachers. Teachers in particular have not been able to see a dime forever. Forever. Why? You would think the people who spend all day not only babysitting your kids, but educating them, creating them, like helping them create value for themselves and for society down the road. Oh man, why wouldn't we pay these people? That makes sense to me. Apparently it's never made sense to the government. Unless you work for a private institution and push a private agenda. I mean, sometimes you get lucky. Everything still comes with a cost. A cost that evades a lot of people. That school to prison pipeline is a legitimate thing. It is something that is all too easy too. Failing school that teaches them really poor navigation of a world that was already not built for them, like giving them a really awful map in an already broken world and expecting them not to end up in prison. I don't know. I think when I don't know what to do and I'm not given much to do it with, you try things, and some of the things that you try, the consequences of trying them may be dire, may be permanent, may not be, it may put you in a position that you are not able to overcome. And life is a single run through game. You do not get to try again. As far as I'm aware. If we do, that's really cool. I've always been a proponent of reincarnation. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And to think about it, if I get reincarnated, I'm probably going to have to experience some really crazy stuff with this world. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. Let's keep it moving to sleep. Sleep is a daily struggle that all of us kind of have to, like, everybody needs sleep, right? You need 7-8 hours of sleep. You need it. As you get older, like much older, I think those numbers change. A lot of sleep science you can look into if you want to know the specific numbers maybe that are a recommendation for you. But at the end of the day, more is actually what we're looking for here. Especially more than what some of the more entrepreneurial and passionate members of society seem to suggest is okay. You need it. It sucks because it means you're just kind of killing hours in the day. Like it's dedicated to just recovery. Those are hours you don't get to like do something with or plan with. But it's great because it will take care of your body. And it will help prevent disease and things that will take you down in the long run. It gives you a break. It's like an inbuilt genetic way for your body to say, I know being a human being is a lot. Take a break. Get to sleep. Give me, my body, my mind, this thing that I'm in, a chance to recover. A chance to recover from the world in which we live. Think of it that way, right? Sleep isn't like avoiding anything. It's giving your body a chance to be like, hey, I know that Another crappy day. Another day at the office. Another week at the office. Another day where existence isn't what we would have liked it to be. So let's take a break. We'll come at it tomorrow. And I think with the advent of the smartphone and how close it is to us at all times, how top of mind it is, how close it is to our hand, our bed, a lot of the time, it can get easy to get tempted out of sleep or to fall into the smartphone trap of something important is likely more important than your sleep. But I think that's one of the biggest things I think everybody should do your best to deprogram from, because it's not the same for everybody, but I think most people, you can comfortably take your sleep. You don't need to check that Instagram notification. You don't need to place that bet. You don't need to send that text right now. They understand. They should understand. Unless it's an emergency. In which case you should know what an emergency is. Use discretion. But don't feel like everything's an emergency. Because it's not. Yeah. So those are the basics. So I kind of want to just like pivot back. We can knock them off one more time again here. Air, water, food, shelter, sleep. I guess I did forget warmth here. I think warmth, realistically, is I think laced into an existence that can comfortably acquire the rest. But it is worth noting still. I guess because warmth and cool, because I mean we're living through a Texas heat wave currently here. The ability, I suppose, to just exist comfortably without fighting extremes. And if you do something like don't have a home, don't have shelter, probably don't have good access to food, and warmth is a constant struggle, a constant battle. Now, I think all of these things, while simple in concept and all part of the birth lottery in terms of how good your access is to all of these things, to quality air, to quality water, to healthy food, to consistent shelter, quality sleep. These are things that adults you hear growing up can't get. I can't tell you how many times I heard people who just didn't sleep enough, haven't been drinking enough water. Those are the main ones that you hear just constantly thrown around casually in terms of people not meeting their own needs, even when they have proper access. But you don't really ever think about the ones like air and water, even though that is, as an organism, as an individual, those are the things that are almost maybe most important, I suppose. Can't say any of these things are really more important than the other. At some level they are, but talking about specifically, we don't think about the quality of our air, but maybe somebody who got like a perfect genetic role, who could have been an amazing basketball player, rower, chess prodigy, you name it. They just have the genetic potential to be all of these things, or the genetic inclination to be all of these things, but they were born and raised in an area where they didn't have access to clean air and their lungs couldn't develop properly. They didn't have access to clean water, so they were constantly getting sick. They didn't have access to healthy food, so they never really grew up. Their mind didn't develop at the pace it should have. Their body wasn't strong. They were still, like I said, sick. They were constantly in a battle for survival because of these resources. And to think something like shelter, if they just didn't have a home to begin with, what are they supposed to do? how are they supposed to become who they're destined to become? Who, I don't like the word destiny, who they could become if the world around them took care of basic needs. If the world around them didn't treat these things like luxuries or optionals, because they're not. It is not optional to give a kid access to clean water, clean air, enough food to grow and survive and thrive, consistent shelter, adequate sleep, and proper warmth. But there are people who will tell you otherwise, who will say you gotta pay for these things. These things are not just given to you. Why? Why are these things not given to me? Why do I not have to earn the things beyond this? I need these things to live. Because if you do not enable me access to these things, I die. Do you care if I die? And the answer is, unfortunately, for a lot of people in the society in which we live, especially America, they don't care. I don't think it's ever been more clear that they don't care. You have to find a way, and we're just talking about basic needs here. I'm not even going to go beyond this. There's more that I want to talk about here, but we're just going to talk about these. You need to get to a place with clean enough air. You need to treat your water every way possible to get it clean. You need to find food for yourself, put a roof over your head, get enough hours of sleep, and stay warm. And now, if you can't do one of these things, if you can't get access to some of these things, you're just stuck doing that. You're stuck you are stuck acquiring these things. You are stuck appropriately meeting these needs for yourself, let alone anybody else. And so, this is unfortunately where the birth lottery, I think, impacts the most. Because some people are born with free access to all of these things without a second thought. Their parents have to provide it for themselves, so of course they provide it for their children. The trouble lies when you have adults who can't provide it for themselves, who may have children who they sure as hell can't provide it for. And a government who sees it and kind of just spits in those people's face. Because in America, not having money, not having resources, not having these things is your fault. Somehow. I know you were born to a family that wasn't able to give you any of these things, but you should have figured it out at 1 year old. One's old enough, right? 3? And you'll figure it out in the foster system, right? With your grandma. Maybe your uncle's better. Somebody can take care of you, right? No. Not always. Not usually. So, what do? Well, you focus on the things that are missing out of these essential lists for you. And then you find a way to more easily meet this need, essentially at all costs, almost. Because it's that important. If you're not sleeping at all, the problems that are going to develop down the line, mentally, physically, are not worth it. And when I say not worth it, I mean you know, but it's serious and it's important. And you need to find a way to get that sleep, to improve the situation for yourself. Just like I said, this country just isn't really designed to do it for you. And that's a failing of this country, to be clear. It's a failing of, I think, society at large, because we earned so much, we got so much, and we built so little that is actually required. And it's a shame, because I want nothing more than for every child to have access to clean air, clean water, adequate food, safe shelter, enough sleep, and enough warmth. Hell, more than enough sleep. Give them a couple extra. But very few even get the bare minimum. The birth lottery is real, and it can determine a lot. I still think that at the end of the day, life is half luck, half effort. But don't ever overlook where you got lucky from minute zero. Or maybe where you got screwed. If you got screwed minute zero, out the womb, and any of these things, I'm sorry. Like, I'm genuinely sorry. I hope you found the answer for yourself, or I hope you can find the answer for yourself. But yeah, let's start here and see if we can make it better for ourselves. Hopefully, down the line, we'll have a society full of people who want to make it better for all of us. We're not quite there yet. And the goal, until we get there, is survival. So, stay safe and survive till next time. Survive past next time. But yeah, love y'all.